I don't have a mama. Can I stay with you? The single dad watched the female CEO freeze. The cafe had been loud a moment ago, coffee machines hissing, chairs scraping, voices melting into a constant hum, but everything fell silent the second the little girl's trembling voice cracked through the air. She stood in the doorway clutching an old teddy bear, her cheeks streaked with tears, her small shoulders shaking as if the weight of the entire world rested on them. In front of her, a sharply dressed woman, the CEO everyone feared and admired, froze completely, her expression shattered between shock and something deeper she didn't understand. And behind them, a single father in a worn blue work uniform stopped breathing for a moment, because even he had not expected his daughter to run up to a stranger and say those life-altering words, "I don't have a mama, can I stay with you?" If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in stories that remind us there is still good left in the world, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps more people hear stories that heal the heart. For a moment, no one moved. The cafe staff looked on in confusion, the customers exchanged quiet whispers, and the CEO, known for her icy decisions and unshakable composure, stood rooted to the floor. She had come here only for a meeting, a quick discussion before returning to her high-rise office. She hadn't expected a child to cling to her skirt, to look at her with eyes full of desperate hope, or to break the shield she had crafted over years of cold ambition. Her past rarely haunted her in public, but that moment dragged open a door she had locked long ago, the night she lost her own mother in a world that never paused long enough to notice. The single dad, exhausted from working double shifts, rushed forward and knelt beside his daughter, trying to calm her. He had tried so hard to be mother and father, to fill every gap, to soften every hard moment. But grief was a language children spoke differently, and sometimes it poured out without warning. He apologized over and over, but his daughter shook her head fiercely and held her teddy bear closer, as if afraid it would vanish like the woman she missed every night before falling asleep. The CEO watched all of it with an unfamiliar ache pressing into her chest. She was used to numbers, not emotions, reports, not tears, strategies, not small trembling hands reaching toward her. But something about the girl's raw honesty, her innocence, her courage to say what adults could never admit, it broke something loose inside her. She found herself stepping closer instead of walking away. She found herself lowering her hands slowly, hesitantly, almost tenderly, as if reaching for a memory she never dared to touch. The cafe remained silent as she exhaled shakily and forced herself to stay steady. She had spent years outrunning anything that looked like vulnerability. Her father had raised her alone, drowning in debts and exhaustion, trying to give her the life her mother would have wanted. The CEO she became was the armor she built to protect herself from ever feeling helpless again. But now, looking at the small girl whose voice had softened the edges of her heart, she saw herself, not the woman she became, but the child she once was. The single dad finally managed to pick up his daughter, whispering to her gently, promising he was right there. But the girl kept staring at the CEO, almost as if she saw something safe in her. Something warm. Something she needed. The CEO's eyes stung unexpectedly, and she looked away, pretending her polished composure was still intact. The meeting she had come for, the one with investors waiting at the corner table, no longer mattered. Instead, she found her feet turning toward the father and daughter, as if pulled by something stronger than reason. She didn't know what to say. She didn't know why her voice felt trapped in her throat. She only knew that for the first time in years, she wasn't thinking like a CEO. She was thinking like a human being. She stepped closer, noticing the father's embarrassment, the guilt in his eyes, the exhaustion that came from fighting life alone with no space to rest. She could see he was doing everything he could, yet everything still felt like not enough. She remembered her own father standing that way more times than she could count, tired, overwhelmed, but determined to keep going. The CEO found her voice at last, soft and uncertain, asking if the girl was okay. The father nodded but looked away quickly, ashamed. The girl, however, clung tighter to her teddy bear and whispered so quietly the CEO leaned in to hear it. She missed her mom, and everywhere felt scary now. The CEO's breath hitched because she understood. Loss didn't get smaller, people just learned to walk with it. And some walked heavier than others. The cafe slowly resumed its rhythm, but something had shifted. The CEO, who never stayed longer than necessary, chose to sit with the father and his daughter. She asked about their lives, their struggles, their hopes. She listened in a way she hadn't listened in years. She felt her walls lowering, piece by piece, in the presence of a child who had unknowingly touched the part of her heart she thought had died long ago. Outside the window, the world continued, cars passing, people talking, life moving on, but inside that cafe, 3 lives quietly changed direction. The CEO offered help, not in the cold, impersonal way she did with business partnerships, but genuinely, from a place of shared understanding. She connected the father to resources, opportunities, and people who could lighten his burden. She even visited them again, surprising herself each time with how natural it felt. Days turned into weeks. The girl started smiling more. The father found steadier footing. And the CEO discovered something she had long forgotten, the power of being needed, not for her success or authority, but for her heart. The most unexpected change, however, happened inside her. For years she had lived behind glass walls, unreachable, unshakable. But this small family slipped through the cracks and made her feel alive again. The girl would run to her with innocent joy, hugging her tightly, melting whatever frost remained. The father, humble and grateful, became someone she found comfort talking to. And slowly, without realizing it, she became a piece of their world. Near the end of the story, as their lives intertwined in ways none of them had imagined, the CEO understood something profound. Sometimes families are born from blood, and sometimes they are built from broken pieces finding each other at the right time. She realized she didn't just help them, they healed her in ways she didn't know she needed. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your engagement helps us bring more emotional, inspiring stories to the world. Before you go, comment below what moment in the story moved you the most.